2 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to find Albania on a map. Now I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. We came for the lower cost of living. Now we're staying for the healthier lifestyle, the better food, the incredible culture, and the growing expat community. But that just scratches the surface of what Albania has to offer. Some of these perks are unbelievable. About 2 years ago, my wife and I got tired of watching our bills go up. Inflation was like a rising tide that was eventually going to overtake us. I knew if we didn't completely restructure our lifestyle, that it wasn't going to be sustainable. Here we are a couple of years later, and I can't open my YouTube app without seeing dozens of videos about people drowning under the economic pressure in the US right now. Everything from utility bills growing larger than mortgages in some places, to produce bills that genuinely shock me, and I don't see an end in sight. When we started looking for alternatives, it didn't take long to come across this less popular Eastern European country. We found out that we could live on under $2,000 a month in a walkable city. That was enough to start making plans to come see it for ourselves. We took a test trip and we were convinced that we could make a home here, but we couldn't have imagined some of the other reasons that we would love it. Some of them really surprised me. Lower cost of living. When you meet an expat here, if you ask them why they picked Albania, usually the first thing they're going to tell you is they came for a lower cost of living. If you're living on a fixed income like Social Security, or you have a small business, or you're earning income through a remote job, you could live a much more comfortable lifestyle here than that same amount would get you stateside. There are all sorts of caveats I could talk about here, like gentrification or poor healthcare infrastructure. So I don't want to present this like it's like a financial paradise, but for some people it's going to feel like a genuine dream come true. And it's not just that, it's also the year-long stay. You can find countries in South America and Southeast Asia that have a lower cost of living than the US, but then you have to ask the question, as a US passport holder, where can I actually stay? There's currently a very small handful of countries that will allow a US passport holder to stay a full year. Albania is one of them. To have the freedom to come here for a full 365 days, rent a long-term apartment, and actually get eyes on the ground and see what it's like to live here. It's invaluable. And if you decide you really like it, you'll be really happy to learn about the easy residency. There are a lot of residency options, and virtually all of them have relatively easy qualifications to meet compared to what other countries demand. There's a retirement visa, there's a digital nomad visa, there's a business visa, you could get a work visa here, there's even a visa for property ownership, and all of them are very obtainable. After 7 years residency here, you can apply for citizenship, and Albania is applying to be in the European Union, so that could turn into an EU passport. But once you get here, you're gonna fall in love with the walkability. Your mileage may vary here, but I haven't owned a car in about a year, and I absolutely love it. It can be inconvenient, I have to consider logistics more than I used to, but I feel great. I've saved thousands of dollars because I haven't had all the costs associated with car ownership, and my health has improved dramatically. I've experienced everything from weight loss to joint pain improving. I don't even think twice about climbing stairs anymore, and the idea of walking for an hour or two doesn't even faze me. Don't fret if you want to drive though, because there's still plenty of cars. But whether you're walking or driving, you might just find yourself overcome by the beautiful landscapes. Albania has some of the most varied terrain that you could find in a single country. It has stunning mountain vistas and beautiful sunny beaches. You can even find cities that have both, like where I live in Vlora. A good view wasn't something that I prioritized, but occasionally even I'll be surprised by the beauty. It's getting to the point that I feel a little desensitized to it. I guess that's a good problem to have. It's not just the view though. Here it's the 1-2 punch. You also have the comfortable climate. Now, I've had some pushback from some other expats here when I've brought this up, but according to the Wikipedia, here in Vlora where I live, it's a hot Mediterranean climate. You can expect 300 days of sunshine a year. With such a wide variety of landscapes, you can really find whatever kind of weather that you want here, honestly. There are places that get snow every year, but if you want sunshine here, you can find it. Compared to life in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex where I used to live, I get more sunshine in a day here than I did in a month living there. I mean, it's hard to get much sun when the most time that you spend outside is walking from your car to the door. But these are all common reasons that are often talked about. What are some of the less talked about reasons? Positive US reception. I know before we came, something I was really concerned about was how I would be received as a US expat. Opinions about the US are really mixed right now. I didn't want to move somewhere and feel like I had to hide where I was coming from. It was extremely relieving to find out that Albania has a very favorable view of the US. When an Albanian finds out that you're from the US, you'll often see their faces light up. They'll be excited to ask you about what part of the US that you're from and what you love about Albania. And that friendliness isn't exclusive to US citizens. The Albanian people are genuinely some of the kindest, most welcoming people that I've ever encountered. If they think it'll help, they might offer you the shirt off their backs, and often they won't take no for an answer. And this really comes across whenever you look into the low crime rates. The truth is, where there are people, there's potential for crime and danger, and Albania is no different. But crime isn't a vibe or a feeling, it's measurable. Looking at the Global Peace Index, you'll quickly discover that Albania is substantially safer than the US. Albania ranks around 52nd. The US ranks about 128th out of 183 countries. Petty crime's pretty uncommon here. I've never heard about purse snatchers or pickpockets. You'll often hear women comment about how they feel safe when they walk at nighttime. When I first got here, I was worried about leaving my phone on the table at the cafes when I was drinking coffee. I don't worry about that anymore. I don't think anyone's gonna come steal my phone off the table. But it's not paradise. My friends Tony and Kendall from Cafe 1912 were robbed earlier this year. They had someone break into their cafe in the middle of the night and stole from them. They've increased their security measures since then. There's also a relatively high degree of corruption and organized crime here. Whenever a person's living outside their home country, they should always exercise extreme caution.
Get off the road!
But if you mind your business and you're respectful, this country is measurably safer than the US. But if for some reason you did decide that you wanted to leave for a bit, you'd be pretty surprised to find easy access to other countries. My wife and I recently took a weekend trip to Vienna, Austria, linked here. The round trip tickets for both of us was about $130. When my wife told me how much the flights were, I didn't believe her. And that's true for some of the most beautiful places in the world. When we got married, we honeymooned in Italy. It was an amazing 10 days, but it was like $5,000 for that experience. Now living in Albania, Italy is literally a 50 euro ferry ride right across the Adriatic Sea. I wouldn't even need to drive to the port. I could walk there from my apartment in about 15 minutes. I'm not sure I'd want to leave though after experiencing the minimal inflation. A funny expression I think about sometimes are the only guarantees in life are death and taxes. It's relatable, but they forgot inflation. It's everywhere, it's inescapable, but the thing that really stands out to me here in Albania is how little I've actually felt it. Prices are going up, especially in the tourism industry, but when it comes to the staples, things have remained incredibly consistent. For example, we've been purchasing the same brand of water, the same size jugs. It has been the same price in lek, the local currency, the entire year that we've lived here. And it's not just the same price at the same store. This applies across all the stores that I bought it in. It's always the same price. Same thing for things like soda. I can buy a big liter bottle of soda for 100 lek. That's been consistent the entire year that I've been here. I watch content about prices going up in the US all the time. It's hard to imagine prices not going up in a week, let alone a year. And it's not just water and soda that are inexpensive here. This may seem funny, but I have to dedicate an entire section to world-class olive oil. Look at this. Look at this. Look at it. Olive pulp. This is the darkest, most disgusting looking olive oil I've ever seen. I bought it from an old man set up on the side of the sidewalk. He only knew a few words of English. He just kept screaming, "Extra virgin!" And then he held up the amount of currency that I needed to pay for it, which is 1,200 lek. It's about $15. You can see it's got olive pulp. Look at that. It's disgusting. This is like the best olive oil I have ever had. Seriously, it is amazing. And it's not just the olive oil, it's the olives too. I eat them every day. I can't imagine not eating olives at this point. I'm spoiled. If I wanted to buy olive oil like this in the US, you could probably go to Whole Foods and find tiny little boutique bottles, and they would be like 50 bucks a pop for a tiny little fraction of this. $15. Incredible. I don't know if I could ever go back to the hyper-processed stuff I used to get in the grocery store. Give it to us raw and wriggling. The darker, the cloudier, the better.
So juicy, sweet.
This has definitely been touched by human hands. When I talk to other expats here, Albania is often described as feeling like the Wild West or the US in the 70s or 80s. Less red tape, less hassle, more humanity. Just last week I did a video about how living in Albania, I feel like a latchkey kid living in a latchkey country. I'll link that here. If you're looking for something a little more rough around the edges, but something that feels more like a community than a business, Albania might just be the place for you. I don't think Albania is perfect. It's not for everybody. As a matter of fact, one of my best performing videos is about the cons of living here. I'll link that. But for me, for the first time in years, life feels more manageable. And I think a lot of Americans are looking for that feeling right now. All I can do is talk about it. Ball's in your court now. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to support the channel, you can scan the QR code here, or you can look for the link to buy me a coffee in the description below. When I first started making content, one of the first goals that I set for myself was to make enough money with it that I could cover my coffee budget, and I have recently achieved that. It's all thanks to you guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Almost to 2,000 subscribers, can't believe it. If you're thinking about moving outside the US or wondering what life is like for a US expat in Albania, glad you're here. You got questions, I got answers. Stay tuned for this next one. See you guys soon.